Oh, what a glorious Wednesday. Wait. Thursday? What a glorious Thursday. Yeah, man. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Are we so back? Because yesterday it was so over. I'm just trying to keep track of the days, you know? Like, are we so back? Or is it so over? I'm myself a bit confused, you know? All right, let's get into it, man. Let's do it. Welcome back to the Den of Nerds. I am Josh, and we got a great show for you today. Fantastic Four trailer just dropped, kind of randomly, I'll be honest. But it is actually a really good trailer, in my opinion. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the movie. And so it's cool that they dropped this trailer, and we're going to break it down together. We're going to get into it. We'll react to it. We'll talk about all the little theories. We'll try to discover some of the secrets. We'll speculate about different aspects of the film. It should be a really good discussion today. Again, I really like the trailer. I'm pretty positive on it. I'm pretty positive on this movie in general. And that's despite not loving some of the things that have been out there in the promo, you know, some of the stuff with Johnny. You know, I don't even necessarily love the idea of a female Silver Surfer, but I think there's a difference between voicing concerns or saying that I don't like the idea of this, and then looking at the actual execution of it and allowing that to hit you. I think this is all fair play. And for me, female Silver Surfer, I'm kind of down. You know, I'm kind of down. She looks good. The visual effects looks good. So crazy how that kind of stuff can happen. So we'll break it down. We'll react to the trailer together. I will do a thorough video that's breaking it all down and possibly even going into some of the leaks and rumors. That'll probably release tomorrow. I mean, I guess it could technically drop later today, but probably just going to drop it early tomorrow morning. But what we'll do today for today's show is break it down together, get into a lot of discussion. I'm sure the Q&A portion of today's show is going to be excellent because there's a lot here and there's a lot of stuff that we're going to go over. And, you know, I'm sure not everybody's feeling the same way about all these different things. That always makes for great nerdy conversation. So I look forward to that in the back half of the show. As far as show notes are concerned, guys, not too much to say. I will say one thing before we get into breaking down the trailer, and that's that last night we had a bit of a discussion about the coming Marvel Rivals tournament. So if you didn't know, we're going to host a Marvel Rivals tournament for the community, and we're only going to start with 4 teams, and very soon I'm going to set up a little survey Google document thing that you guys can fill out if you're interested, because I'm going to put the teams together based on what you guys show me in the document. So all I'm going to say is this. I will be taking the highest ranked players that submit. So we probably won't have this form ready until Monday. So all I'm going to say is if you're a Marvel Rivals player and you're in the community and you're interested in joining the tournament, I would grind some ranked. I would try to get my rank up because I will be selecting the highest ranked people. That's just so that we have really good gameplay that we can all react to when we end up doing that. So, yeah, probably have that form ready for you guys on Monday. You might want to hit the ranks. Hit the ranking, man. Get those ranks up if you want to be a part of this tournament. And I think it's going to be really cool. More details to come soon on that. It'll be on a Saturday. So also, if you can't make it on a Saturday, if you can't like have a 4-hour, 5-hour chunk on a Saturday, I mean, it's probably not for you. You know what I mean? So, but all that will be detailed in the document we put together. So other than that, guys, not too much doing. I will have videos. It's funny. I was working on a video this morning about some of the leaks for the Fantastic Four and the post-credit scene stuff. I'm going to push that video probably to the weekend, and I want to do the trailer breakdown first. So probably detailed trailer breakdown tomorrow morning, and maybe I'll tease some of the leaks, and then over the weekend, we'll discuss the leaked post-credit scene, Chris Evans, crazy stuff going on with the Fantastic Four. So that's kind of the schedule for videos, and we'll be back at it tomorrow at 11 to stream as well. So That's your show notes. But I think we should just get into it, man. So this trailer dropped earlier today. And I got to be honest, man, I think it's a pretty good trailer, man. I really do. And you know what? Let me get this pulled up on YouTube, actually. So give me just a second here. Whoa, what the hell? What the hell? Am I missing something here? Okay. Let me get this trailer pulled up so we can watch it on YouTube in high quality. Twitter's terrible. Terrible website, terrible compression. Everything about it's terrible. Okay, we got this pulled up. We're going to just react to it together. I've already watched it. I'm sure a lot of you guys have watched it too. But let's let it run. And then let's get into the details. Let's start breaking down all the cool stuff. The cool stuff that's revealed in it. Okay, so let me get this sized up for you guys here. Whoa, what is going on today? It's those interdimensional beings, man. Trying to take away our fun. Okay. Let me pause this music. Let me get this going on here. And if you're listening on the podcast feed right now, it might be a bit of an awkward episode. I'll try to obviously break stuff down. There is a video version of the podcast on Spotify, so that'll drop probably a little bit after the audio drops. I will try to describe things to you, but while we're just watching it and whatnot, you're probably going to be a little lost on the podcast feed. So here we go. Let's watch this trailer together. New Fantastic Four trailer.
Wow, folks, we all know the story. 4 brave astronauts head up into space and come back forever changed.
This car?
Our city, our planet, owe a debt to these intrepid souls. And while we can never repay them, we can certainly celebrate them.
Thank you, Fantastic Four. Thank you.
Thank you, Fantastic Four!
Please welcome the Fantastic Four.
Whoa.
Herbie, how's that sauce looking? Okay. That is fantastic.
You're late.
What do you mean?
Little
What do you
glitchy,
mean, what
huh?
do I mean? You're late for dinner.
It feels a little
Yes,
glitchy
we
on
are.
my end.
You late?
I just said that.
Are you pregnant?
What? You're gonna be the best mom in the world. And you are gonna be the best dad. Just kidding. You are out of your depth.
Yeah.
We are gonna be the best uncles ever.
We can do this. Nothing's going to change.
I love this turn right here. The tone. So good.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Yes, we are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space. And they hurt.
Are we safe?
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
There's not enough time.
Seems bad.
Giving up. We will face this together. We will fight it together. As a family.
Uh-oh.
Has to be us.
We will protect you.
Oh, man. There might be so many people watching this thing right now that it's like not because it's like a little glitchy on my end, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's bandwidth issue or not. Okay, so first reaction, chat. Like, how do you feel about that? Give me a score out of 10. Throw it into the chat. How do you feel about the trailer? To me, I gotta say that's an impressive trailer. That's an hey, one at a time. Everybody's going too fast. All right, let's see here. We got 10, 6, 9, 7, 10, 10, 20. Holy, 8.5, 10, 9, 9, 8, 10, 4 out of 4. Nice. 8, 9, very high scores. Very high scores for the trailer. Not everybody's wowed, but I would say pretty high scores. I really like this trailer. I think it takes what was teased as far as the tone that was introduced in the teaser trailer and some of the other marketing, and it puts the edge on it. There's a flip. There's obviously the Franklin stuff, which is so funny because like they're finally showing Franklin, or at least talking about Franklin as a concept. But Franklin has a lot to do in this movie, so they're still hiding plenty of stuff in the film. I think it's a very effective trailer. I think for me, a couple of things that are working is like this world and the aesthetic that they've chosen is very sharp, and it just feels really earnest and feels really good. So the movie just looks incredible. Like it looks so good. Maybe a little different than like other MCU stuff, but it looks really good. I love the introduction of like Galactus as this big looming threat. I like Silver Surfer. So overall, first reaction to the trailer is very positive. I think it's a really good trailer, really earnest. But now let's watch it again. Let's begin to break some stuff down here. Okay, so we have this almost like this version of the Ed Sullivan Show here.
Wow, folks, we all know.
And we got this guy, the Ted Gilbert Show. Okay, so, man, there's a little bit of an awkward situation here because there was this big leak that recently came out, okay? And so I want to address that kind of right off the bat. I don't necessarily want to get into the spoilers, okay? The problem with the leak is it's the same account that leaked Superman stuff recently, and I know for sure that some of the stuff that was in the Superman leak is fake. I think this person, in either an attempt to throw off the scent of the studios, or if they're actually working for the studios, then they might be leaking in a way that's like they're going to put a couple of real things in there and they're going to put some fake things in there. And I think the intention there is to actually either to protect themselves, or if this is the studios, then what they're trying to do is get you to believe some fake shit because there's real shit around it, okay? However, this is in the new leak, and I gotta be honest, like some of this stuff's a little concerning for me because I'm like, I don't love everything that's in the leak, okay? But this is in it. So you've got the Ted Gilbert Show guy here.
4 brave astronauts head up into space.
And I really do wonder how much of the actual accident we're going to see. It seems like it'll be in archival footage. And if the leak was to be believed, you'll sort of open the film with this guy in this exact situation here, just explaining the story. And that's how we will understand what happened to them. We're not going to actually see it play out in the story. Remember, Marvel has said this is not an origin
Up
film.
into space and come back forever changed.
Cool, you know, dude, it just looks so good. Like it's so crispy. The photography.
This car?
Lifting the car for the kids, so
Our
wholesome.
city, our planet, owe a debt to these intrepid souls. And while we can
I
never-
also really love this idea that the whole world is like aware of the Fantastic Four and they idolize them and worship them. And you'll see that that slowly turns throughout the movie. And that's kind of like an interesting concept.
repay them, we can certainly celebrate them.
Thank you, Fantastic Four. Thank you. Thank you,
This is probably all, again, going to be something that's shown in the presentation.
Please welcome the Fantastic Four.
Herbie, how's that sauce looking?
Love that Johnny in these shots too. It did feel a little bit barren in the first trailer,
Okay.
just between those two.
That is fantastic.
You're late.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? You're late for dinner.
Yes, we are.
You late?
I just said that.
Are you pregnant?
Love that, man. And by the way, a lot of people kind of picked up on this right away because there's a subtlety, and this is just like good actors, right? But there's a thing going on where, like, when Johnny says, "What do I mean? What do you mean?" When Sue says, "What do you mean?" it was obvious to people that she might be talking about being late as far as missing a period, which is an indication of being pregnant. And I love that, like, that's actually what happened. And for Ben to pick up on it and not Johnny is really, like, intelligent writing. And I'll say this, man, I don't love that Johnny's not going to chase skirts for sure. And I can, that's fine. I can put that out there. But I will say tonally, this feels right for Johnny. He feels like Johnny. He's got swagger. He's got arrogance. He's got a hard edge. He's a little bit of a goofball. This feels like in a good Johnny Storm here. So I accept this despite some of the things that I don't like about it.
What?
Like, dude, it's just so good. It's great. It's really
The
good.
best mom in the world. And you are gonna be the best dad. Just kidding. You are out of your depth. We are gonna be the best uncles ever.
Love it.
We can do this. Nothing's going to change.
I love that. Like, nothing's going to change, and then they cut into this, right?
Are you the protectors of this world?
Love it, man.
Yes, we are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
By the way, totally called this situation here when we first did our breakdown. I was like, this is very likely him chasing after the Silver Surfer. I thought it was obvious in the first teaser trailer, but it is cool to see it kind of come together here. By the way, some interesting things going on here. You notice this in the right corner, Westview. So Westview is like not only real in this world, but like somewhat prevalent to pop culture. Kind of interesting. There'll probably be a lot of other people like picking out little things here, but I just find it so fascinating that you've got the Westview appliance television thing going on here. Kind of strange. And that looks like Times Square, right?
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space. And they hurt.
Okay, that is interesting. I actually don't think that is... I don't think he's talking about Galactus here, but we'll come back to that, okay? Now, this shot right here is a little strange. So you have all these people in the underground. Now, that's another thing that was in the leaks that's like, oh, no. So this could be I think they call it Subnautica. This could be a subterranean place where Mole Man and his moloids all reside. And it could be the case that a lot of people are being evacuated below the surface to like where Mole Man is hanging out, right? So I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but you can see on the walls here, you can kind of see in the background there too. You can actually see one of the moloids. Isn't that crazy? Like you can see, oh no, that's just a cop standing on something actually. Never mind. It looked like there was like a bigger person here, but he's just standing on something.
Are we safe?
Love this, man. I love how like the whole public, because it's cool, right? Like everybody idolizes Fantastic Four in this universe. They're like the world's biggest heroes. Something big, crazy happens like this, and the whole world's like, dude, like what is going on? Are we safe?
I don't know.
Reed crossing out his formulas, trying to figure out a way out of this problem or something like that. Pretty cool.
Not enough time.
Not enough time. And then you see that. I mean, that's a little scary. I mean, what do you think's happening here? That doesn't seem good.
I'm not giving up.
And then the crib right here. This is Franklin and whatnot.
I'm not giving up.
Or they're thinking about Franklin. And then the Earth's there. I gotta say, man, I feel like this shot here, and we don't know for sure, but I feel like Reed has some kind of dark secret, which I think is actually what he's referencing when he's talking about they heard it. I don't think it's Galactus. I think Galactus is coming because of Franklin. And I think Franklin, well, yeah, we'll save it. We'll talk more about that later on. But this right here with him, like, I just think the way he's looking at these Earths hanging out and stuff like that, there's something going on. There's some subtext here.
We will face this together.
This is probably in Galactus's ship or something like that. I guess it could be potentially underground too. But you see all these like gears and all this like rivets and all these like workings here. That's very akin to the Jack Kirby sort of architecture that he built around Galactus and Galactus's ship and all of that sort of stuff. So this is probably like on Galactus's ship or like some kind of technology that Galactus has.
We will fight it together. As a family.
Surfer, I think Surfer looks good too. You know, again, like it's totally okay to be like, I would prefer Norrin Rad, and I wish they would have gone with Norrin Rad. But at the same time, female Silver Surfer, she's kind of eating here. Like this looks great.
Has to be us.
And we get to see Reed here finally using the stretchy powers. That's pretty cool. A lot of people think that could be the ultimate nullifier there. Possibly.
We will protect you.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of stuff in this is working. And then you get the little tease here with Galactus at the end. Super cool. He's just strolling up. He's just rolling up, man. Let's watch again, see if anything else jumps out at us.
Wow, folks, we all know the story.
We do all know the story.
Head up into space and come back forever changed.
True. Lift the car. Yancey Street. It's literally Yancey Street, yo. That's cool. You can see it right there. He's literally on Yancey Street lifting cars for the kids. Jack Kirby would be so proud.
Our city, our planet, owe a debt to these intrepid souls. And while we can never
A lot of
repay
stuff to
them,
look at
we
in the
can
background,
certainly
too.
Celebrate them.
Thank you, Fantastic Four.
Thank you, Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four!
Please welcome the Fantastic Four.
Herbie, how's that sauce looking? Okay. That is fantastic.
You're late.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? You're late for dinner.
Yes, we are.
You late?
I just said that.
Are you
She
pregnant?
does sound a little too British, I'll be real.
What? You're gonna be the best mom in the world. And you
It's
are
not
gonna be
all the
best
time, but
dad
occasionally
just
it's just
kidding.
like,
You are
you're
out of your
British and you're
depth.
acting like you're not.
We're gonna be the best uncles ever.
We can do this. Nothing's going to change.
I think something's going to change. I think this is the coming of the Silver Surfer. Notice, dude, like you can kind of see that here, right? He's in the, mother of pearl. He's in the suit. They're in some of those clothes, and you're going to see that later on in the street, too. Right here, they're all wearing the same shit.
Of this world?
That's the outfits they were just wearing. Really interesting. And notice how long her hair is, too. This could be... The timing here is kind of interesting.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Yes, we are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
Man, what a crazy thing to hear, right? Like, everybody's like, what the hell's going on? Your planet's now marked for death. That seems really bad. Fantastic Four, save us. Great shot here, too. Shit, dude, it looks so good. I think Thunderbolts looks good, too. Like, I think Marvel, I don't know what the, like, aesthetic changes are or whatever, but it looks so crispy. Really, really good photography.
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space. And they hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't think that's in reference to Galactus, because I don't think that Galactus is coming to Earth because Reed stretched the bounds of space. I think Galactus is coming to Earth because of Franklin Richards. And it is possible that Galactus, being from another universe, knows about Franklin Richards and knows that, I mean, he could potentially know that Franklin is about to be born, and that's what, like, attracts him to it. And if Franklin, I mean, if you think about this, if Franklin's about to be born, then his power, even within the womb, could be doing things, sending signals, manifesting. And, like, part of me believes that's why they'll have the birth in space. Like, and that's like another thing that's kind of rumored and leaked, is like the birth will take place in space. And it might be the case that the Fantastic Four thinks that they need to be off world because they don't know what's going to happen with Franklin. And it could be actually kind of scary. So that could be a part of the reason why they take him into space. One other thing I want to say here, too, is I've been really critical of Pedro as Reed. And I will say, he doesn't have actually a ton of dialogue in this trailer, but what he does have in this trailer feels like Reed Richards to me. So as critical as I was of the casting choice and even some of the promo and stuff, I'm just like, I still just don't see it. This trailer is the closest we've gotten so far to him actually feeling like Reed, and that's great. So if they can keep that throughout the film, that's going to feel good.
we safe?
I just think Ben looks so good. It's crazy how much subtext and emotion they can pull out with his facial expressions here. Like
I don't know.
that's impressive.
There's not enough time.
There's not enough time. And what is he looking at? You know what I mean? There's just so many questions here. And then obviously, like, is this Earth? Is this Earth? Because you're gonna need a lot better sunscreen. This looks crazy. Like this does not seem like a good time. I'm confused as to whether or not this Earth will actually be destroyed or not. But yeah, this doesn't seem good. This does not seem like that's gonna end well. I don't know.
I'm not giving up.
Like that, like, man, there's just something going on with Reed. I feel like there's a secret that he has.
There's not enough time.
I'm not giving up. We will face this together.
And also, you know, something that somebody else pointed out, I think it was the Geeky Cast, it almost seems like there are two arrivals of Galactus. Like, I don't know if you guys are picking up on that, but it almost feels like there are two different times that he comes there. And there was an old leak that indicated that there would be two different times. There's also a rumor that I heard that after Franklin is born, the team actually disbands. The entire team disbands, which could be connected to Galactus showing up and then first, you know, being forced off world or whatever. And then maybe eventually he comes back. I'm not really sure. But it does seem like there's almost two different distinct time periods here of this like meeting.
Together.
Surfer look good.
Fight it together.
Sue look
As a
good.
family.
Let's go back to that shot there. Oh yeah, really interesting.
As a family. Has to be us.
I love these action scenes. Dude, it looks so crispy. Reed's powers look good too.
We will protect you.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, what's the deal? Because the Surfer comes, she's heralding Galactus, your world's marked for death, but then Galactus actually rolls up to the block too? Like, how do we make sense of that? There's a lot that we don't know about this movie. By the way, I will say this too. I had a conversation with a couple of people this morning after this drop. The truth is, Fantastic Four, along with Thunderbolts, like went off without a hitch, meaning the productions were really smooth. I believe Fantastic Four actually finished ahead of schedule, which is really uncommon for a Marvel movie. And they were so confident in the film that they haven't even done a lot of screenings for them. And that's where a lot of the leaks come from. You know, you'll get leaks from like concept art and script decisions and like early production, but then you'll get a lot of leaks because Marvel is screening and testing. And for movies like Quantumania and for movies like Brave New World, Marvel was so nervous about those films that they did public test screenings outside of just testing internally with like employees and stuff. So that's where you get like a lot of leaks. What I'm saying all of that to say, there's a lot we don't know about Fantastic Four. And part of the reason why is because it apparently went so well that they knew they had the sauce and they did not test it a lot. So there's a lot that we don't know. I'm comfortable with that. That's cool, man. Like that's a nice place to be as a fan. And of course, I'm going to try to speculate. I'm going to try to figure it all out. But I won't be mad if I get surprised. And I won't be mad if there's some stuff that we get wrong. Like that's just kind of a part of being a fan of this franchise. So that's a good sign, not a bad sign. That shit looks cool, man. I can't believe they're still not letting us hear Galactus's voice. I mean, I guess we know what Eason or Ralph Eason. I guess we know what his voice sounds like, and it's fucking goated. But at the same time, like, man, just a little line from Galactus really would have really would have been nice. So, yeah, those are kind of my thoughts and just a couple of things that I break down that I can see in it right away. I want to ask you guys, is there anything else? Is there anything we're missing? Oh, and by the way, look at these things on their wrists here, too, in this shot. That's rather interesting. That could come into play. I've heard it might. So, yeah, interesting. Is there anything else in the trailer? Anything else that like other people are pointing out? You know, some little Easter eggs or some stuff that we did not go over ourselves? Let me know. I'm really interested, man. I likes it. I likes it a lot. This is definitely a W that Marvel needs, man. I mean, things are pretty rough over in Marvel Land. Thunderbolts looks absolutely incredible, and yet just really doesn't seem like there's a lot of interest there. Fantastic Four looks really, really good. This is obviously a huge franchise that people are aware of, and I want this movie to do well. I want to be happy as a fan, but I also want it to commercially succeed because that's a big deal for as we're getting into Doomsday and whatnot. And like I said, I'm working on a video. I'll explain the post-credit scene, or at least what I think is going on in that post-credit scene. And this movie, the way I'm thinking of it is, I think it's going to be a kind of self-contained, really good Marvel movie with maybe some of the craziest post-credit scenes ever. So I'll just kind of leave that there for now. We'll talk about that in a video over the weekend. Chat, what else? Is there anything I missed? What else are people talking about? Is there other crazy stuff? Should we go to the polls and see how people feel about the movie? Oh boy. Let me get this out there for you. The ship from Loki. Interesting. The ship from Loki. So are you guys saying that you think the main Fantastic Four ship looks like the one from Loki, or is it somewhere else? Talking about this ship? Can you say that again? Probably not, because I don't even remember. Hey, Space Tricks, dude. Built and painted the armigers coming for your tiny mustard med. Custodian, more like pudgy little custard. I love the passion, man. That's awesome. Show the ship outside of the planet again. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, seems bad, huh? That doesn't seem good. How are they going to survive this? Looks like the ship next to it when the planet explodes. Yeah, I guess it does kind of... It actually looks a lot like the ship from Loki. Wow. It probably is the same ship. And you know what else is crazy? Like, okay, should I just say the thing that I'm trying... I'll say one thing. I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna tell you what my instinct is here. And I'm not always right, but I have pretty good instincts for this kind of stuff, okay? I think the leak that just came out is mostly real, except for the ending. I think the leaked ending is fake. And I think the real ending will see this world be destroyed. And it will see the Fantastic Four travel through a black hole. And it will see the Fantastic Four probably pop out either in 616 or a different world. But I don't know that to be the case. But that's kind of fun, right? It's fun that we don't know. It's fun that all of these leaks seem to match up with a leak that's basically saying it ends happily ever after. And maybe it does end happily ever after, and some of this stuff is in the post-credit scenes. I don't know that I would like that. But dude, I'm all about it. Like, it's cool, man. You know, make me question what I know. I'm all for it, man. I'm just trying to be a fan and have fun. I don't care if I'm right. I just want to speculate and theorize and then go check this thing out, man. This looks like a good-ass time in the movie theater, dude. Like, this seems like this shit's going to be good. I know the ending because of my 100 sources. Oh, shit. Well, why don't you let us know then? Why don't you let us know? Any news on Doctor Doom in this movie? I believe Doctor Doom will be relegated to a post-credit scene. Mm-hmm. I don't know for sure, but that's what I think is gonna happen. Look at the ship from Loki. It's not even close to being similar. Let's see. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Whoa. How come this doesn't have the actual image? That's weird. Do, 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 do. Maybe I need to do spaceship. So here. That's the ship. That part looks... Yeah, I don't know, guys. I do not know. Like, you can see the blue on it. Let me see if I can find a better image of it. Kate Heron said the mysterious ship in the season 1 finale appeared a few times in the MCU. The black hole, I was wondering the storyboard artists think it was just the case of the contact shot. Huh. So I would say for the spaceship, it was a fun Marvel nod, Heron said in an interview with Cinema Blend. We had a homage to Contact, but I was like, okay, how can we get this ship to be a bit more MCU flavor? So it was kind of picking some, I would say if people look at the ship, they will recognize it. It's been in a few things. I mean, here's a little bit of a better looking image there, right? So let me get that out of there. Interesting. I mean, I think what you could say is like, it would have to have been destroyed, right? So like a lot of the shit would have had to be destroyed or adjusted or maybe even like Silver Surfered or something. I don't know. They don't really look like this part here. If you see my cursor, oh shit. This part here could be that one part of it. I don't know. That's a tough one. They look kind of similar, but it's not like one-to-one, you know what I mean? So here, just give you another look, like, because you could see how this could be that, but it's definitely different. I don't know. What else? What else, chat? What else is on your mind? What else are people talking about? They're both just blue. I mean, yeah, but like they're not the same ship, but like, okay, so let me just give you an example here. What if this ship is like going through a black hole and then Franklin Richards literally changes the molecular structure to make it of the same material of the Silver Surfer to allow them to be safe or something. Like you know what I love about Franklin Richards? He could do any goddamn thing. So like dude, it could get wild with what they're doing. And I don't know. I mean, look, I'll tell you this. There are very good scoopers and insiders that have talked about how black holes and traveling using black holes is going to be very important for Fantastic Four movie. Now, maybe that just means when Reed's at the chalkboard, he's playing around with like black holes and he's thinking about how black holes could be a way to bridge into other galaxies and stuff like that. But it could also be like when he's like, there's not enough time. Maybe that's him literally being like, yo, we got to bail and we got to go through this black hole. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot that could be going on. He's just a kid, bro. Yeah, but do you know anything about Franklin? Because Franklin, as a kid, created an entire pocket universe. Franklin, as a kid, actually created, there was a big event where a bunch of heroes died, like Iron Man and Captain America and shit like that. Franklin Richards, as a kid, literally created an entire universe and took those heroes right as they died and put them into a different universe. So, like, it doesn't really matter that he's just a kid. Like, he's crazy powerful. So, yeah. Yeah, Heroes Reborn, which was cool. I thought it was cool. And that was like Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld coming back to Marvel and shit. Kind of threw off the Image guys a little bit, but oh, it's just a meme? Oh, okay, my bad. Hey, what up, Rob? Rob, what do you think, brother? What do you think about this trailer?
I'm not giving up.
Dun, 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 dun.
Together.
Fantastic art looks incredible.
We will fight it together. As a family.
Man, I think it looks so good.
Has to be us.
Hang on a second here. Okay, so they're all there. It seems like they're literally possibly leaving the Ted Gilbert show. But see, that's what I mean. Is like, this is either two different villains or it's two different times Galactus coming. You see what I mean? Because the other one is they're at the house in more modern clothing, and then that's when Surfer comes. So maybe Galactus doesn't show up for the birth. Maybe the birth happens. I don't know. There's a lot here that that could be going on. I'm really interested. I got to do some thinking about this. Aren't they in space for the birth? That's the rumor, yeah. Like, what if when Galactus first rolls up, he's like, oh, hey, by the way, I've been to a couple other universes. You're going to have a kid. His name's Franklin. And he's really powerful. Here's the problem. Gonna Rumpelstiltskin your ass. I'm going to need that kid. I'll shoot up the block. Like, let's not get crazy, Reed. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Cloud Galactus and real Galactus? Yeah. Really interesting, though. I mean, visually it looks great. I mean, doesn't it? You want to chit chat, Rob? Are you available for a call? I'll give you a call. Rob! Do 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 do. Do 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 do. All right, let me get Rob in here, guys. Hang on, give me just a minute. Do 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 do. All right, Rob, I'm gonna give you a call, brother. Okay, gotta open up Discord. Yeah, let me know when you're good. Let me know. Fifi, what up? You think the F4 will get new costumes in Doomsday or Secret Wars? I think it's certainly possible, yeah. Especially if they travel through, if they're a little scuffed when they show up. It would be dope to get the black and white Future Foundation ones. True. That would be great. All right, guys, let's get Rob on the line here. Dude. Whoa, what up, brother? Okay, hang on 1 second. I don't think they can hear you. Hang on, give me 1 second. It's on me. I gotta adjust. Yeah, you guys can't hear Rob, right? Output device speakers. Okay, we should be good now. Okay, I think they can hear you.
We good?
Yeah, I think we're good. We're good.
Yeah, man, dude, that trailer looks really good. Like,
yeah,
it looks really amazing. Like, I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, no, I was blown away. I've been on the fence with some of the stuff that's coming out for it, but at the end of the day, the trailer comes out, it hits me, and it's great. It just feels like really much like it feels like Fantastic Four, very much in the vein of like the Jack Kirby stuff. Everything's working for me, even female Silver Surfer. You know what I mean? Which I was very skeptic on. I like the look, I like the powers, I like the voice. Just everything feels right.
Dude, female Silver Surfer was like the least concerning thing about this movie. Like, anybody who was mad about the fact that Silver Surfer was a chick was just looking for reasons to be angry. There were any number of other reasons to be concerned about this film. But yeah, man, like I was on the fence about Johnny Storm, right? Because what's his name? The guy who played Johnny Storm, he came out and he's like, well, we're doing our version of Johnny. And it's like, okay, but like, here's the thing though, Marvel. Usually when you do your version of stuff, that version is ass. So like I was really nervous.
Yeah,
when
totally.
he said that.
Totally.
Right. And then we get like, dude, there's like a 10-second exchange in that trailer where they find out that like he's pregnant, or that Susan and Reed are pregnant. And Johnny's just like, oh, you're gonna be a great dad. He's like, just kidding, you're way in over your head. But we're gonna be the best uncles ever.
Yeah.
That's the most Johnny Storm statement
I agree
that anybody could ever make.
I
like,
absolutely
it is the most
agree.
Johnny Storm statement.
Yeah, no, I
like,
totally agree.
I am so hyped.
I felt instantly relieved, I think is the way to say it. Because I agree with you. I heard, and by the way, I don't agree with you about the female Silver Surfer, but it's fine. We can agree to disagree. I think female Surfer is lame as hell, but she looks good in the movie. She looks good in the trailer, so I can't really complain.
Why is female Silver Surfer lame?
Because it should be Norrin Rad. I mean, Norrin Rad is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, that's when you say Silver Surfer to me, I'm not thinking of Earth X or, some weird else world with Shalabal. I'm thinking of Norrin Rad. And when you bring the Fantastic Four in and you say you're going to do Galactus and you say you're going to do Silver Surfer, I think it's totally fine if fans are like, why wouldn't it just be Norrin Rad? You know what I mean? So
wait. So let me see if I understand.
Sure.
So the Marvel Cinematic Universe came along, and they gave us this female version of Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
But every beat of her character in this movie and all the future movies is the exact same story as Norrin Rad. You're telling me it would be a problem?
Well, yeah, because I just want Norrin Rad. Why? Let me flip it on you. Why is it a problem that I just want Norrin Rad?
Because nobody cares about Norrin Rad. Everybody cares about the story of Norrin Rad is the Silver Surfer.
No,
but that's not
true.
Unique to
that's
Norrin
not true.
Rad. You can take that story. No, dude. Okay,
that's not true.
Okay. Why? Okay. Leave out the story. Leave out everything that happened to Norrin Rad after he became the Silver Surfer. Why is Norrin Rad cool?
What? Say that again. But by the way, I'm very much not. Here's the thing. I'll tell you this. I'm not interested in having a conversation about the one thing that I'm already over. I don't understand why it's such a hang up. Like, why would we focus on this aspect of it when both of us agree that she looks good in the trailer?
This is Josh. I love you to death, man. That's your way of just being like, I don't have an answer to that question.
Well, what's the question? What's the question? What's the question?
Okay, the question. You're talking about how you don't like the idea that it's a woman version of Silver Surfer that you want Norrin Rad.
That's how.
And what I'm saying is, to me, that doesn't make any sense, because no one cares about Norrin Rad as a person. What they care about is the story of Norrin Rad when he became the Silver Surfer. So you go into the Ron Mars Silver Surfer Volume 3, issue number 49. That's where you learn that he was always taking Galactus to worlds that didn't sustain life. I'm sorry, that's where you learn that he actually got his form as the Silver Surfer based off a childhood superhero that he read about.
Yeah.
And you go into Silver Surfer Black, and that's where you learn that Galactus, that he always took Galactus to worlds that didn't have any life on them. And then one day a world with life gets destroyed, Norrin almost goes insane, and Galactus wipes his mind. And that's when he becomes a Silver Surfer that you know, where he's taking Galactus to any world, and it doesn't matter, and then eventually he shows up on Earth. But the story of Norrin Rad is the Silver Surfer, and everything that transpired is not unique to Norrin Rad. It's not something that has to be a part of Norrin Rad.
His story isn't unique to him? Is that what you're saying?
No, the events that transpired that made Norrin Rad into the Silver Surfer that we know is not unique. It's not unique.
Rob,
to Norrin Rad.
It is
you can take that story, you can take that story and
Norrin
put it on anybody.
It is literally unique to him.
No, it's not. The only thing unique to Norrin Rad is that of all the people on Zenla who chose to step forward and say, I will sacrifice myself for the planet and become your new hero, is Norrin Rad. That could have been anybody.
It could have, but it
just
wasn't.
happened to be
it could have,
Rad.
but it wasn't. It was Norrin Rad. I don't understand your
Yeah,
point.
But
that's like saying,
None of,
if Iron Man's story was just transferred to a completely different character, it wouldn't matter because you don't care about Iron Man as a character. You care about his story, which could be painted or copy pasted onto any character, like a lizard person, and then we're just supposed to accept the lizard person Iron Man because it was never Tony that we liked. It was just the story created around him. It's a logical fallacy. I don't understand what you're saying.
No, that's exactly what it is. You're treating this. You are trying to combine the story of Silver Surfer and the story of Norrin Rad into one cohesive thing. The only reason why you're able to do that is because Norrin Rad is the guy that we always read about. But they're two completely separate things, right? Norrin Rad becoming the Silver Surfer that we know is it's just a byproduct of the stuff he did as a Silver Surfer.
Yeah, that's how his story works. I don't understand your point.
But you can in turn take that and apply it to anybody.
Yeah, and if they had taken it and they had applied it, I would have said I like that character.
Yeah, the way I know that is if I had a time machine, I could go back in time and I could change Norrin Rad's name to any other name.
Yeah, and then
I could go back in time and I could have changed Norrin to any other character.
Sure.
So it's not unique to him. It's not an inherent part of his character.
Rob, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. You're saying if I went back in time and changed it, then it would be different. Like that's sure, but then 40 years later, I would be like, hey, Shalabao, I want Shalabao. Because the reverse could be completely true. So, like, let's say in the 60s, when Kirby was coming up with this idea, because this was Kirby's idea, it wasn't Stan Lee's. Let's say he had made it Shalabao. Let's say that he had said it's a female. Shalabao was the person that stood up and, helped and then helped Galactus and tried to find planets, like all that sort of stuff. Then 40 years later, or I don't know, 50, 60 years later, I would be frustrated if they just changed it to a male character because I'd be like, no, it was always Shalabao. That's her. That's her story. That's her thing. So like, I don't understand your point, and I don't think it's that interesting because it doesn't matter. She looks good in the trailer. I don't understand what we're arguing about.
I mean, if it doesn't matter, then why were you upset about it?
Do I seem
why were you bothered by the fact
do I seem upset
Silver
by
Surfer
it?
was a chick and not Norrin Rad?
What? I don't understand what
you're saying. I'm asking like why it bothered you. Like if it didn't matter, like why did it bother you? Plus, I've also just kind of been aching for a debate recently. Dude, with Benny gone, man, there's nobody to debate with this shit about. So look, like I literally have no one to debate with, so it drives me crazy.
Look, I guess I just don't fully understand it. I mean, like my stance on it is I understand that Shalabao's a character. But when you're, as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, bringing the Fantastic Four, I think it's okay for me to be like, I would like it to represent the way I see these characters, the way that I've read them, the characters that I like. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's not like I'm saying, oh man, females are bad. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Well, I never said you were saying that.
Yeah. So, but I'm
not accusing you of like being crazy or anything.
No, it's just for me. It's like when I first heard it was Shalabao, or first heard it was a female Silver Surfer, because it was actually first kind of presented like in a weird way where it almost seemed like they were going to gender bend Norrin Rad. And look, I'll say this, it's so much better that they did not gender bend Norrin Rad and they went with Shalabal. That feels good to me, right? Because that would have been like really weird in my opinion. So like, I'm cool with it, but it's still okay to be like, oh, yeah, I would have much preferred Norrin Rad. Like Norrin Rad's the one, I have a Silver Surfer #1, right? So I love the Silver Surfer. I think Norrin Rad, and by the way, Norrin Rad, Stan Lee's favorite character, even though he didn't even come up with the concept, because Stan Lee was like, you know what I love about Norrin Rad is he can speak so extravagantly. He's this like really clever wordsmith because he's the literal herald coming this big giant monster. So it's Stan Lee's favorite character. It's one of my favorite characters. There's nothing wrong with just being like, yo, I want it to be the way that I fell in love with the character. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at this point, like I don't necessarily get like super tied down to that kind of stuff anymore. The only thing that I care about in this movie, and the only thing that I want to see as far as the Silver Surfer is concerned, and it looks like we're going to see it, is the chase scene between Johnny Storm and the Surfer. It was the only good scene out of Fantastic Four 2, and it's the one thing that I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Surfer being a chick, like that to me, it was always interesting to me that people would get bent out of shape about that, because it's like,
yeah, but don't.
I mean, but like it doesn't matter, though.
Right? And I hear you, because I think there are a lot of people like. So I saw people on Twitter today that were, you know, making the argument or even posting under the thing on Twitter and being like, the Silver Surfer is a male, and like, you know, being very like authoritative about it. And there's obviously you know, grifters and people that want to just stir shit up. But I don't think it's fair to conflate everybody that had a problem with it as that group. It's just unfair to take people that in good faith don't like it or would have preferred something else and sort of put them in the bucket of bad faith people that are like, you know, just grifting off of culture war stuff, right? So yeah, like I understand your point.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing that.
Well, it feels a little bit like you are. I'm just being honest. Like
it feels like I mean, I never said that. Well, the point that I was making was I think that I get the idea of being attached to superhero characters. Like, believe me, right? Like growing up, I remember when I went to go see the first X-Men movie, I almost stormed out of the theater and I was pissed. Why? Because Wolverine and Sabretooth didn't know each other. And I was like, this is ridiculous, right? And like, it was like, this is the most outrageous thing that I've ever seen, right? Like Sabretooth always kills Wolverine's love interest on his birthday. The guys hate each other, right? They have a long drawn out history.
Yeah, it matters
how
to you.
could Fox screw this up so bad? Yeah. But after a while, what I started to realize is like, that gets in the way of legitimately just enjoying the movie.
That's fair.
Right?
Yeah,
like, it just
fair.
like, and then like, as I started like, kind of moving past that, it was like, okay, so why do I want to see that? Right? Like, I already know what happens in the comic.
That's true.
Right? I already know exactly how this character's story unfolds. So like, I'll take somebody different. And then eventually I started to enjoy it. I was like, you know what? I kind of dig the idea. And so like, I look at this and I'm like, okay, I kind of dig the idea that Silver Surfer is not Norrin Rad, because I know about Norrin Rad. I know Norrin Rad's story. I know how Norrin Rad evolves and changes over the years. So like, give me somebody different.
Sure.
And they did. And I'm excited to see it. So no, I'm not saying that like you are in the same ballpark as like the Critical Drinker or Nerdrotic or those guys, you know, that offer opinions, you know, designed to kind of, you know, stir the pot and then tell people how they feel.
Sure.
Like, I'm simply just saying that for me, I don't understand why people would look at the Silver Surfer and be angry about the fact that it's Norrin Rad, when the only reason why they enjoy Norrin Rad is because of Norrin Rad's time as the Surfer. So it's not some mold that was placed on Norrin that fits Norrin exclusively.
Yeah,
right. This is vinyl wrap that you could just put on anybody, right? And it could have been anybody. So that's how I approach it.
And look,
right? But I think again, you know,
I think I understand. I mean, I think I understand it, and I think it's fair. By the way, like, this is just stuff that used to happen in the comic shop, guys. Like, people used to just be able to disagree and like have conversations about this kind of stuff. And by the way, be passionate about it, because we really, really love this stuff. And I do think, like, look, here's all I was trying to say is that, like, I think it's okay that like a year out from the movie, we hear Silver Surfer is going to be female. I think it's okay to have a negative reaction to that, but then like I think it's also okay to like see it and be like, well, it's working. You know what I mean? Like, it works. It feels good. Like, I'm going to be excited. Like, that should be totally fine. Like, it should be okay to, and it's like the Johnny thing, right? It's very much like the Johnny thing, where it's like, you know, there's an article, an interview, and he says, I'm not going to chase tail. And we're all like, bro, what the hell? Then you see it, and you're like, no, it is Johnny. It is Johnny. You know what I mean? So, like, I think that's all okay. Like, it's all fair. The main point, and, you know, we should probably get into, like, you know, more of the actual trailer, but the main point is, it's working. The pieces that they have assembled, what they're trying to do, the style, the angle they have on these characters, it seems to be operating in a really nice way. And, you know, maybe some of the comic Puritans out there will be a little bit frustrated about some of these things. Like for instance, I wonder, how do you feel about people like loving Ben Grimm right away? Because it seems like the whole world really loves him, but that's not really how it goes in the comics. Like, there's a long period where people think he's a monster and are afraid of him, and that's kind of part of his arc. So there's all sorts of stuff there that, like, as a Puritan, it's not nailing it, you know, from the comic perspective, but I think that's okay. It's a movie. And to your point, it needs to operate on its own, right? It's not here to, like, replace the comic book experience. It is adapting the characters to the live action stuff. And I think in that regard, I would be hard pressed to find a good faith person that is saying it is not doing that. I think it's doing that. I think it's doing it well.
Well, number one, thanks for the debate this morning, man. Like, I've been going stir crazy not being able to debate. I mean, I guess I have my staff, but they don't know nearly as much about comics as like you or I do.
Well, it's
so
also
it's good
to argue with people that are good faith, that are not going to like try to dunk on you or be shitty. You know what I mean? Like,
Josh, I knew you were always like those grifters, man. It was only a matter of time before I could make the world see.
Exactly.
Okay, so to your point about Ben Grimm, and here's something that I think that people are tending to lose track of when it comes to the trailer. We're effectively picking up in the middle of it all. Right, like literally, the trailer opens up and the guy's like, you know their story. They go into space, they come back with powers, and we know all this to them. But what we don't see is the transition. And I still stick by the idea that their story. I mean, I guess maybe this seems to kind of fly in the face of it a little bit, but I still stick by the idea that they are not from that universe.
Yeah,
that the Fantastic Four
feel
are
the
from
same
the
way.
main Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I feel the same way, but if so, they're hiding it very well because I can't.
They're hiding it well. Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't confirm it. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you caught this. I said this earlier. The thing that's interesting about this movie is it apparently the production went so well that they didn't do a lot of screenings. So there's like not a lot of great leaks for it. So we're kind of like not sure, and that's great. Like, that's a fun place to be at. So I get that feeling too, man. And
I do miss it.
Yeah, I get that feeling too. There's a shot in here. I want to bring this up. There's a shot of Reed looking at the planets. I think it's this right here. I don't know if you can see it on stream. There's something about his expression here. There's something going on here. I'm not sure what it is. But this looks like a man that is harboring some dark secrets. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, he literally says, "I'm not giving up." Like, I think they're trying to get back home, right? So here's the thing, right? Like, and you and I talked about this in a previous stream. I think he made the bridge.
Yeah,
I think that's what he constructed with the bridge. Yeah. I think they're not from that universe. Now, here's the cool thing, right? And it'd be super easy for the Marvel Cinematic Universe to fix this, right? That Reed Richards and those guys, they existed in that universe. Reed Richards, Susan Storm, so on and so forth. They existed in that universe. And they were the astronauts that went into space. But it's entirely possible that two things kind of coexisted at the same time, right? Okay. So here's the thing. And this is kind of going out into the weeds a little bit. What do you know about the Omniversal Development Court?
Nothing, bro. I don't even know what that's from.
Okay, so I don't think the Omniversal Development Court, I don't think they're going to introduce it. I don't think it's going to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So the character of Saturnine, whatever, she was at one point the magistrate and the leader of the Omniversal Development Court.
Okay.
And their job is to monitor all the universes across the multiverse and basically ensure that everything progresses around the same time. That in every universe, the X-Men become a thing around the same time. The Fantastic Four, the Avengers, Alpha Flight, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And so that established in Marvel that in every, or I guess it established the reason why in every universe, you have some version of the superheroes that we all know. The rosters may change and they may be villains, but they all still exist in some capacity. And so the Marvel Cinematic Universe, by way of what if and all that kind of stuff, the idea of variance, has already clearly established everybody that we know from the Marvel Cinematic Universe from the first 10 years exists in other realities. Their stories change, their motivations change. They might be heroes, they might be villains, they might be neither, they're just a nobody, right? Whatever the case is, right? They all exist. So it's not outside the realm of possibility that Reed Richards, Pedro Pascal and all of them were going on their mission in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at the same time that this reality's version of Reed and all of them were doing the same thing.
Wow,
And for
that would
any
be
number of
wild.
reasons, right? Maybe
Yeah.
that would be wild, right? And for any number of reasons, when Pedro Pascal and them took off on their mission, it created a kind of dimensional rift, right? They end up in this alternate reality, and maybe it destroys the ship of this reality's versions of Reed. Maybe their ship just goes awry, right? Everything goes sideways. They disappear, right? Like everything just goes radio silent.
Yeah.
And then when they pick back up, it's Pedro Pascal and Susan and them, and they're like, "Hey guys, we made the mission, we survived," and they come back to Earth, knowing they're not from that reality. And so this entire time, all they've been trying to do is get back home. And so Reed has created a bridge in order to see into other realities. And that's what he's referencing when he's saying things like, I tested the limits of space,
Right.
and they heard, right? Because when it comes to I mean, and you know this, just there's any number of just small little moments in Marvel Comics. Like, for example, in Hickman's Avengers, New Avengers, when Captain America puts on the Infinity Gauntlet, it draws the attention of the Watcher, Thanos, and Galactus.
Yep.
They don't do anything.
Yeah.
They just realize he's done it.
Sure.
Right? And so there's all these moments in Marvel where a person messing with the universe in some capacity is going to draw the attention of someone. And if Galactus figures out that Reed and them are not from this reality, then yeah, that's his gateway back to a different Earth or to his Earth or whatever it is. Because remember, when it comes to the nature of the bridge, it's the ability to see into other universes across the multiverse.
Right.
Right. So a way in is a way out. And so if it's one of these things where Surfer comes to Earth and it's just the traditional role, right? I'm here to bring Galactus to this world because Galactus has just chosen it for the next one to consume.
Yeah.
But then they realize that Reed has the bridge. That's Galactus's way back to the universe that potentially he comes from, if he's not from that reality.
Yeah.
So it could simply just be one of these things where instead of it being this super basic, Silver Surfer shows up, Galactus wants to consume Earth, the Fantastic Four defeat him, roll credits, that it's a lot more complex than that.
Yeah, I
and
think
that
so
it's
too.
them just it's maybe Galactus trying to get home or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, like I'm excited as hell for this movie.
I'm super excited too. I think that the obvious, and this is why I think this trailer is so effective, is there's, with this, it's almost like there's a second shoe that's dropping where it's presented as just this retro futuristic world where only the Fantastic Four exist. There's no other heroes and stuff, at least as far as we can tell. Otherwise, what the fuck are they doing? Because there's like some real crazy shit going on and they're not showing up. But that is like what they're presenting. It almost feels like that's the sleight of hand. Like that's like the first act or whatnot. But there seems to be like all of this like tension and subtext that's hiding like darker, more mysterious, and frankly, way more science fiction, like hardcore science fiction stuff that's going to be happening in this film. And you can feel the drop in this trailer. Now, it's still presented as it's just Galactus, and it's like Galactus is just coming to Earth, but it's obviously more than that. And another question I had, I actually don't think when Reed says that line about how, and they heard, I do not think that references Galactus. What do you think? Do you think that references Galactus?
Okay, I'm gonna ask you this question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bounce this question back to you. Do you think it's the Council of Reeds?
Yes.
No way, bro. Okay, give me this line of thought. I need to know what your thoughts are on this.
Well, okay, so I think I think Galactus is coming because of Franklin. And I think Galactus is coming because he wants Franklin to recreate the universe that he came from. Okay? But that has nothing to do with Reed stretching space. Okay? So unless Galactus first comes because of Reed. Like, why would he say they? You know, I guess he could be referring to like the Herald and Galactus or whatnot. But it still feels a little bit weird. Like, if the Herald of Galactus comes and says, your world is marked for death, Galactus is going to show up and shoot up the block, I don't know that you would be speaking in terms of like pluralities and saying like they. I think you'd be more referring to him or it or whatever, like the big powerful force. So like that's part of it.
Yeah, he heard.
Yeah. But also I just everything I've heard from the rumors indicates that Galactus is there for Franklin. So this feels like something else. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels different. And then as far as like the council itself, we both think the bridge is being created, right? And I think that's important.
Yeah.
But remember when all the casting rumors were coming out and like, bro, the amount of people rumored to be in the running for Reed Richards was crazy. It was like Adam Driver, Diego Luna, Penn Badgley, like there was even some brothers that were in the conversation. I forget exactly who, but like, bro, it was a wide range of kind of people that were apparently really close to getting the role of Reed Richards. Well, you think about that, and then you think that the first, like the production company that was created to make this movie, I believe it was Solve Everything Productions was what it was classified as, right? And of course, Solve Everything is the whole idea of like the Council of Reeds, which actually translates to Future Foundation. And think about it like this. We know the Future Foundation is a part of this film. That's been in some of the other trailers, right? Where, you know, it's literally like, boom, Future Foundation. That's a thing. That also, of course, comes from Hickman's stuff. And the whole reason Reed does the Future Foundation is because he has the experience with the council. After that experience, he blows up the think tank that he has on Earth, and then he establishes the Future Foundation. So with all of those things in mind, I just can't help but feel like there could be something else going on here, and it just points to the council for me.
So here's the other thing, and I want to point you in this direction. So as I understand it, and you can correct this, you're more in tune with this kind of stuff than I am. As I understand it, the role of Doctor Doom in Doom War is supposedly destroying the council, destroying the Kang dynasty.
Yeah, I do think they're going to put that into it. Yeah, I think he's going to destroy the council. Yeah.
Okay. So then that's entirely possible what he's referencing.
Yeah.
Right. They heard.
So
like
he could be referencing the Kangs. Yeah.
Yeah, he could be referencing the Kangs. Because so here's the crazy thing. Like, that's what makes it so nuts, is because over time, Marvel has just done these small little things where so for those of you guys watching this who aren't overly familiar with Marvel comics, right? And Josh will tell you that this is true. The way things become in canon in comics is somebody just writes a thing somewhere, and then it officially becomes part of the official continuity.
Yeah.
Right? Like Superman, for example. There's this point in the comics, in the old Silver Age comics, when like Supergirl does something, right? Back when she's in the adventure comic stories or in the action comic stories, she's a background feature to Superman. And he catches her and he's like, and I never would have noticed had it not been for my super glasses. Boom, Superman has super glasses and is officially in continuity. That's how that kind of stuff works when it comes to comics.
Yeah.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is not that dissimilar. And so what you get is a moment. So like in Deadpool, for example, Deadpool picked up one of the 10 pads of the TVA. So now anybody can do it.
Yep.
Right. And so now all you have to do is just modify it in a way that works.
Yeah.
And so you take that and you expand it out. I don't remember if RDJ's Doctor Doom is supposed to officially be part of the Fantastic Four universe. But if the Council of Kangs maybe enter into this reality, or Doctor Doom learns about the bridge, suddenly now he has the ability to attain time travel. And depending on whatever his character's motivation is, that's the reason for why everything in Doom War happens. Right? He just wants to conquer all of reality. I don't know. Right at that point, you and I are both grasping at straws. But I do like your theory that it is the Council of Reeds.
Yeah.
I like your idea that like it is varying different versions of Reed Richards across the multiverse. Here's the question that I would ask you, right?
Yeah.
How do you tie that in to the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe? Right? Like if they do say it's the Council of Reeds, how do you reconcile that? Like how do you get from that to Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Secret Wars.
Well, I mean, I have some theories. I don't know for sure, right? But one thing I was thinking about this morning was all the lobotomized Dooms, right? So, like, we have a scenario where we haven't really seen a lot of Doctor Dooms. Obviously, he's not in the MCU at all. But if the other franchises are canon, we've technically seen 2 versions, maybe 3 if you count the McCormick movie in the 90s. But, like, you know, you've got Nip Tuck Dude, and then you've got that one bull that did it in the Josh Trank one that was terrible, right? So we've technically seen other versions.
He looked like a crash test dummy.
Yeah. But we've seen other versions of Doom. But you know what? There's one thing that none of the Dooms have, and that's magic. So I'm kind of I don't know. I'm sort of interested in, is it possible that either the Council of Reeds or the Council of Kangs were specifically kind of like what you were talking about with the Omniverse Council, where they were essentially...
Oh, Josh!
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You
I want to take your idea and I want to run with this.
Go.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay. Let's take this idea and let's run with it.
Yeah.
It's Doctor Doom instead of the Mad Celestials.
Right?
That's
do you remember the
scene?
That is literally exactly what I was thinking, but keep going.
Yes. Okay. So do you remember the scene when at the end, like near the end of Hickman's run, right? Like it's like, and it's not part of the main story. It's like the little ancillary follow-up stories. So like the Thing lives for 1,000 years and Black Panther becomes the King of the Dead and so on and so forth. There's this moment where Valeria lives up to her bargain with Doom, right? That she told Doom, if you will help us, I will show you the citadel of the Council of Reeds. And so Doom gets there and he says,
I can build here. Yeah.
And like all the lobotomized Dooms are there.
Yeah,
so,
man.
For those of you guys who never read Hickman's Fantastic Four, it's the best Fantastic Four story of all time. But what Josh and I are talking about here is this moment where when Reed Richards is first introduced to the Council, they show him everything they do. Right? They use whole universes to feed other universes. They fix stars that are about to go supernova to save solar systems. They do all kinds of stuff. One of the other things they establish is that Doctor Doom is the most credible threat throughout the entirety of the multiverse.
Yes.
That he always has his schemes, he always has his machinations, and seemingly the story of triumph and torment to free his mother's soul is always a part of it. But once that's done, he goes on to always just try to attain absolute power. And so in any universe, when that happens, Doctor Doom is taken by the Council and he's put in the Citadel below the Council where he's lobotomized and kept there.
Yeah.
Now, when all this was going on, one of the members of the Council traveled to an alternate reality. And he discovered in that alternate reality, the Mad Celestials had taken control of everything. Right? That's what happened, right? Like the Mad Celestials had like conquered that universe or something like that. Yeah. So the Mad Celestials conquered the universe. And so he comes back realizing that he'd screwed up. And that what happened is the Celestials read his mind and learned about the Council. So then the Mad Celestials invade the Council
that's exactly
and
what happened,
basically kill everyone.
Yep.
Yeah, they kill everybody. And so replace the Mad Celestials with Doctor Doom, who just becomes mad with power, takes over his universe, wipes out all the superheroes, and controls everything.
Yeah, man.
Star. Like, that's what we're talking about, man.
Yeah.
Like, Josh, dude, if that happens,
it would be crazy. It would be crazy.
If that happens, that would be crazy.
You know what? There's one other aspect to the Council that I find so interesting, and that's that.
Did we just like crack the plot of Doctor Doom?
Well, I mean,
no way.
there's definitely something there, and I think they're cooking. I mean, it's so obvious. I mean, I think that the bridge is coming in. I think it's going to be obvious. By the way, there's something I know that I can't say publicly. I'll tell you offline. And I'm gonna do a video on it this weekend. It has to do with like the post-credit scenes and stuff. So there's even more to it, but I don't want to spoil it for everybody just on the live stream or whatever. But you know, one thing that I remember too, and this, I wonder if they would ever do anything of it with this. Do you remember that one of the people that's like one of the Reeds that runs the whole Council is part Doctor Doom? Do you remember that? Because he says something to Reed.
Dude, I forgot about that.
Yeah. He says something to Reed where he says, I understand Doom in a way that none of you do because I actually am related to him. I have a little Doom in me. And I was like, I remember when I read that back in the day, I was like, dude, that's fucking ice cold. Like, that's crazy. And then, by the way, there are other times where, like, I think even on Earth X, doesn't Reed become Doom? Like there's multiple times. I remember in Timeless, there's a dead timeline that Kang finds, and he goes there, and it's Doom, but it's actually Reed, and he takes like the space stone and the time stone or something, and he's got them in his eyes. I don't know if you remember that, but he's like literally keeping a dead universe alive.
Yeah. I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now.
So there's like there's different times where Reed and Doom are either related or like interchangeable and stuff like that too. So I wonder if somewhere out in the multiverse there would be a version of Reed that had a little Doom in him too, and that maybe that's something that's going to cook. I'm not really sure, but plenty of awesome opportunities for them to set those pieces up in this movie. And that the thing that's so crazy about it is it actually just looks like a clean, crispy Fantastic Four movie. Like if you didn't know all the shit you and I are talking about, and like if we didn't see it through a certain lens and we were like, oh bro, they're gonna cook this, they're gonna cook that, you'd probably just think like this looks like just a family fun, like adventurous movie. And I think that's good because you want to sell it like that, and then you kind of want to drop the other shoe in the film and be like, it's actually a mind-blowing cosmic mind fuck. You know what I mean? So I'm hyped, man. I'm excited, brother.
Yeah. I'm super hyped about this. Like, it's gonna be phenomenal, man.
I think so too. And it felt, I don't know if you had this feeling, but going back to like the Johnny thing and everything, even Reed to me in this trailer, because I was a little skeptic of Pedro, to be honest. Like, I just have never seen him as like the smartest person in the room. He never plays that guy, right? So I've never seen him like that. And I was like, I just don't know. Like, can he actually be Reed? Dude, in this trailer, like, I buy it. Like, I buy him as Reed in the trailer. And it's this, like, dire subtext. It's like, you could tell there's so much going on up there. And it came across really well. So for me, dude, this trailer was like a sigh. I got to sigh some relief where I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God it's actually going to work. Thank God it actually feels like the characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. It's been so hard to be excited. So like, being in this place where it's just like, we finally get this just really, really cool trailer. It's got everybody hyped. We finally get to see Silver Surfer and Galactus done right. I do like that they're slowly easing Galactus in. They're not really doing like a huge full reveal of Galactus to any of us. Yeah, totally. Like, I do love that they're doing that. They're kind of saving that for the movie because I mean, literally people in your chat were just like, man, I cannot wait to see Galactus. Like, it's gonna be so dope to see him done right. But more so than that, man, like, I think this is the movie that's gonna return a lot of faith to the multiverse. Yeah. Like, to the idea of the Multiverse Saga for the MCU. And I think a lot of people are gonna come out of this movie and just be like, so why didn't they start with this in Loki? No.
Like,
why did they do What If?
I think that's totally fair. And at the end of the day, like, you could write a novel on how squandered the multiversal saga is, right? And like, for sure. Like, and I think fans have every right to be frustrated and confused and all of that. But it does feel like they caught a stride here. This feels right, you know? And I think these are the characters to introduce some of these ideas. So, yeah, man, and you're right. It has been tough. I mean, I'm a person that really didn't even enjoy the new Daredevil show. I think Thunderbolts looks incredible, but like, it just doesn't seem like people are very excited. But this movie, I think, is Marvel's best chance to make a big splash, to kind of, have a big successful movie and use that big successful movie to set up the beats that will hopefully be played on in Doomsday. Because, like, brother, that's like next year. You know what I mean? It's about a year away, actually. You know what I mean? Doomsday, brother. So, yeah, they got they got to make up some ground. But this is the team to do it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Also, Josh, I love you to death, man. I didn't mean to make you feel like you were wrong for being
Rob. You don't
being bothered by the whole Silver Surfer thing.
You don't have to apologize to me at all. I mean, maybe I was a little too firm. I don't know. I didn't. It's just that I feel the way that I feel. I don't hold you. I I don't think you're saying bad things or whatever, but it's like the internet, and sometimes people can take it the wrong way. I just wanted to be clear about where I stand on it. That's all. And, you know, so if I was a little aggressive there or whatever, I apologize. That's not my intention. But the thing is, brother, it's all good. Like, you and I know each other, like, brother, like, there's no animosity or feelings there. And I think it probably just made for really entertaining content. You know what I mean? It got a little tense. You know what
probably.
I mean? It got a little tense, but
yeah, probably.
it doesn't. It's no sweat off my back, and I don't think you need to apologize, man. It's all good. And by the way, too, it's okay to disagree, people. Like I would just say to chat, like it's okay to disagree, and you can defend yourself without bringing animus into it. You know what I mean? Like you just, you know, just state your facts, and at the end of the day,
I will say, and
yeah.
No, I will say, and this is I don't know if this is something that you've ever addressed, and I don't know if it's something that anybody's ever talked about. It was a smart move for Marvel to move the Fantastic Four.
What do you mean?
Away from the weekend release of Superman?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I think Superman hits first, right? Or is it the other way around?
Originally, as I understand it, Superman comes out first. It comes out at the beginning of July, and then I think Fantastic Four comes out at the end. But as I understand it, I don't know. I mean, am I wrong here? Like, I thought Fantastic Four was supposed to come out the same. Like, they had their date first, I think.
Yeah,
and
I don't
then
think
DC announced their date of Superman.
I don't think anything moved, honestly. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there was some conversations about it, and there might have been a time where we all thought, like, we knew it was July for both, and we didn't have a date. But I don't think anybody moved. I know that after Superman dates was announced, I know a lot of people said one of them should move. And then the other thing that's wild is like, so Jurassic, because the Jurassic movie's very close to both of those. So July is stacked, and you know, that's good. It's good and bad.
Jeez.
Yeah. So we'll see. Look, I want both movies to succeed, which, by the way, I don't know, you and I haven't talked a lot about it, but I've totally flipped on Superman. I'm all in on that shit now. Like the newest.
Wait, what, dude? You were so so on the fence about it, man.
Yeah.
Wait, so what changed? What changed?
The CinemaCon footage to me, he released, I think it was like 5 minutes of footage at CinemaCon, and then he publicly released it online. And brother, it just looks so much better to me. Like I thought the color correction was so much better. There's like a lot of particle stuff in it, and I was like, wow, this looks really good. There's actual dialogue. I thought the robots, like one of my big concerns was I kept hearing that it's a really silly movie and it has like a funny tone. And my biggest concern, and I think a lot of people's concern, is like, well, I don't want Guardians of the Galaxy Superman, I want Superman. But then you see it. It's kind of like the female Silver Surfer thing. Like I had an opinion, and then you see it, and it's just like, how does it hit you, right? So to me, goofy ass robots in the Fortress of Solitude, it actually works. It feels earnest. It feels like he's doing a version of Gunn, which is pretty infantile. I mean, he's like, he's got all his sensibilities or whatever, right? So it feels infantile, but it feels more like he's really trying to deliver the correct tone. So it's silly, but I think it's acceptable. It's not like fart jokes and dick jokes and shit like that. It feels like he really is pulling it together. You know what I mean? So for me, that footage really won me over.
Well, one of the things that's kind of been lost in James Gunn's filmography is Brightburn, right? Like that was his, hey. So I can make a superhero film that is not Guardians of the Galaxy, and that is the total opposite. This is a really, really, really dark movie.
Yeah.
And so I think, because when I was watching Superman, the only thing that really stood out to me about the Superman film was or the trailer was how goofy his eyes looked when he was flying.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so they definitely shot that with, shot that with like a super wide lens. That's why his face looks so distorted, whatever. But for the most part, I had just largely stayed away from any reveal to it because he's my favorite superhero of all time. I love Superman. I know everything there is to know. Yeah, I know everything there is to know about Superman.
You wrote a book?
And
you wrote a book on him.
I wrote a book about him. Yeah. So I love the character. So I was like, I'm going to kind of stay away from stuff. But I did see some of the rumors that were saying that. and people were like, so the Superman movie is supposed to be something akin to like James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And a part of me was kind of like, okay, I don't know how to feel about that because Guardians had so many moving parts, right? Like, how much of Guardians does it feel like? Does it feel like Rocket Raccoon, or does it feel like
my thought?
Does it feel like Star-Lord?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if it feels like Star-Lord, it'll feel starkly different than Rocket Raccoon. So it's like, how much of this movie, you know, is how's it going to feel? But I will say, man, and honestly, because I saw a video or one of the live streams you were doing where you were talking about what people needed when it came to Superman versus what, you know, was supposedly being rumored.
Mhm.
And one of the things you pointed out was that given the current climate out here in the world, people kind of need like your grandfather's Superman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like, I know you love Snyderverse, and I know you loved all, you know, the way that you know, the way that Man of Steel was done, all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
one of the things that you pointed out is you were saying that like this isn't really a time for that, right? For like a Superman who's like, well, you know, I don't know if humanity's worth a damn. You know, like it was a Superman where it's just like when you pick up, the guy's essentially got it figured out.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, you know, I know what I'm doing. Right. And like I represent the good side of people and that kind of thing. Which is exactly what the movie needs to be.
I agree. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Superman by his very nature is a hopeful character.
Yes.
Right? You know, he's not, I mean, when Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster wrote the original Reign of the Superman story, the prototype to the one that we have now, it was a story about a guy named Bill Dunn who was given this concoction by a crazy scientist that gave him telescopic vision, mind control, and super strength. And he uses his powers to pit the world against itself and almost destroys everything.
Yeah.
And it's not until the end of the story when his powers wear off that he realizes, man, I could have made the world a better place. It was depressing as hell.
Yep.
And so yeah, no one, you know, there is a time for a movie like that where you have a Superman who does question things.
Yeah.
Where you have a Superman who's just kind of like, you know, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what it means to be a superhero. Like, I don't know how I fit into all of this. And the movie's a 2.5 hour long existential crisis.
Yes.
I get that.
Yes.
Right? There is certainly a time for that. This is not that. And I think James Gunn creating a Superman movie where it is a little more lighthearted, and it does probably feel more in line with the original Christopher Reeve film, where there's a little bit of camp to it. But overall, it's a movie that you walk out of just kind of being like, damn, that was a really fun movie.
Yeah, I feel good.
I think that's kind of what people need in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel good. Yeah.
I totally
Yeah.
agree. And it kind of reminds me of this quote. You know, Grant Morrison has talked about this before because Superman as a character, you know, and Grant gets like really trippy and like meta with it, right? He might be kind of thinking some things that maybe we aren't, but I still think some of his points are super valid. He's talked about how Clark has always met the world in exactly the form that was most needed. So when he's first kind of, you know, popping off in the 50s, he's actually like telling bankers that they're bad and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like he was sort of much more of a social justice kind of a character. And I think it was perfect for that time, like coming out of the Depression and then coming into a world that it seemed like was getting cut up by elites and, you know, all that sort of stuff. But then there are other times when Superman is introduced in a little bit of a different way, you know, perhaps more in a darker, more aggressive way, or perhaps he's more militant and less about social issues. The character has always molded into what is needed at that time, which Grant actually thinks is because it's a real thing and he's actually like real in some sense or whatever. But I just think like I love that about the character, and I do think that what we need right now is that good feeling, like, you know, we just want to cheer for that guy, and it's gonna be very hard for him, and it's all these obstacles are against him, and it seems like the world is so dark and complex. And yet I think you know, for Clark, it's just as simple as doing the right thing always, and his internal moral compass, which is, you know, established by the Kents and just middle America, that is the determining factor. No outside force will convince Clark that the right thing is not the right thing. And I think in a world with a lot of moral ambiguity and things are just confusing, I think that's exactly the message and the theme that we need. And it seems like that is coming across. So yeah, man, I'm happy to be on Team Superman again, you know? It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited about it, man. It's yeah, it's cool. Like it's going to be fun to see how James Gunn's Superman unfolds. Honestly, and that's kind of the cool thing. July is going to be a pretty fun, hopeful movie when it comes to superhero films,
Yeah.
which is great because we're coming out of Thunderbolts, and Thunderbolts is going to be dark.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I am excited about it. I am excited about it.
Hell yeah, man. It's gonna be good. Gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. All right, bro.
Awesome.
Well, I gotta get
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna let you get back to it.
Hell yeah, man. No, I appreciate you calling in. Dude, seriously, don't worry about it. If you want to hit me up later, we can talk. And also there's some secret stuff I want to tell you too. So we'll chat about that.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
All right, I'll catch you later, man.
Be well. All right, guys. Always good to be chatting with Rob. Always good to be nerding out with my friend. Now, I do want to get into these super chats here, guys. So we'll fly through these super chats. And as always, I'm really interested in hearing what you guys got to say. What do you think about all this stuff? You know, the trailer itself, there's still a lot of mystery, still a lot of interesting things going on there. So let's get into it. Let's begin to have a little conversation here, and I'll start to get through these member chats, super chats, and all that. Joshua, first in today, says, not gonna lie, that trailer was fire. I'm honestly down. Yeah, I'm down too, man. I thought it was a very good trailer. Grant, thank you for 5 gifted members, baby. Appreciate you. Joshua says, with sexy female surfer, her physique is much more enjoyable than a boring male surfer. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's a good point. Dr. Cool says, Ricardo Richards versus the Chrome. Oh my God. Holy Dr. Cool. Joshua says, I can only chat $2 right now for some reason. That is weird. Tubular Tommy says, Feige needs the Tremboloni sandwich that Bernthal had. Look, man, it's one of those things where, like, look, do I wish we were embracing masculinity a little bit more? Absolutely. Do I think there's some agenda at play? No. I think it's a confluence of ideas, decisions, and considerations, and sometimes it just ends up not working out. You know, one of the things that's wild is, I don't know if you ever heard this expression, but it goes something like this. Don't attribute malice to what is most obviously incompetence. You know, we have a tendency as human beings to attribute narrative, intent, malice to different things, when at the end of the day, I mean, it's just way more often the case that things just go wrong, that you fuck up. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, look, Tommy, am I going to... I mean, I agree with you, and like I'm all for it, but at the same time, it's not exactly that either. Tim O'Brien says, a member for 24 months. Woo! I love being a nerd venger and a part of this community. Much love to you, Josh, and this community. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for all the support, man. Kendall says, 9 out of 10 for me. 1 point deduction for Ant-Man Galactus. Not sold on Reed. Andrew Lincoln, Def would have been better. FF ended segregation early. It does kind of seem like they did, yeah. Yeah. What a fascinating... what is this world exactly? You know, is it really the case that them just existing created this like utopian? And that's what I'm saying. Doesn't it feel like there's some dark thing going on? Like, doesn't it kind of feel like it can't just be as simple as Fantastic Four made the world so much better, you know? Ant-Man Galactus? What do you mean? Like, he's not big enough or whatever? I like Galactus. Galactus can change his shape, you know what I mean? So I like Galactus walking through New York. I think it's kind of cool. 1KQ says, I understand why they're doing it, but I'm sad about how little we've seen Galactus so far. I want to hear my boy Ralph Ineson. Yeah, dude, I get you, but it's going to be so good when we do. I mean, it's going to be good. You know what I think they should do? You know those goofy little scenes that they do where they're like, turn off your cell phone. Imagine fucking Galactus shows up on your screen, and in that crazy ass like Ralph voice, he's like, if you don't silence your cell phones, I'll destroy your world, or something like that. Whew, that shit would be hype. But I agree. I mean, I want it to, but we know it's going to be good. So it's not like that's up for debate. Vinny says, I can't help but keep thinking about how much better this trailer would be if it was Norrin Rad. Call me a bigot sexist, but that's how I feel CW. Well, you're a bigot and sexist. So there you go. I'm just playing, brother. Kendall says, bro, compare the ship to the ship in Loki. Yeah, we did that. Tough. It doesn't perfectly match up, so... Unless there's some shenanigans, I don't know what's going on with that. Eric DeBoyes says, will that be Tiamat destroying Earth and Galactus has to eat him? Bro! That is an awesome fucking idea. I hadn't even thought about that. Bro. Ooh, I like that. I don't know that it's real. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I don't know that that's real. But that is a cool idea. That is a cool idea. Fifi, if in the climax of the movie, a baby Franklin says in baby talk, my Galactus, recreating the famous comic panel, 10 out of 10 peak movie. Oh, yeah, I agree. I think that would be peak. Absolutely. Scott says, do you think Reed is hiding his work on the council? Yeah, I think that could be a part of it. Yeah, I think that could be a part of it. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But look, kudos to what I've seen from Pedro, at least as far as the performance in the trailer. Put my mind at ease about a lot of things. But then again, he doesn't really say a lot. So I don't know. We'll see. John Solo says, man, those suits are clean as fuck. Some of the best in the MCU ever, to be honest. I really like the aesthetic. I think it's cool. Space Trick Cereal says, hey, babe, I missed you. Can you reenact the anguish crash out scream George Lucas does every night over the decision to sell Star Wars to Disney? Do you think he regrets it? I don't know. Do his billions make it a little bit easier? I don't know. Hard to say. Roman Skywalker, appreciate you with the 2 spot, brother. John Cross says, the Earth at the end of the Marvels looked weird too. Huh. Interesting. What if they jump universes and then they fly to Earth and it gets destroyed too? Oh, that'd be crazy, huh? Yeah, I don't know. Wild. Diamond G says, Reed built the bridge and met the council. I think so, but there's not enough to confirm it, which is cool. Nico says, do you think Reed made the bridge from the Hickman run? I strongly feel that he did. Yes, I strongly feel that he did. Again, we're not sure, though. Appreciate you, man. John Solo says, also, why is Reed the only one without the white collar? I don't know. Maybe just a style choice? I'm not really sure. Nate says, hey, Josh, for your Rivals tournament, you should use rankings from season 1.5. New season is so new, some are avoiding comp until things level out. That's interesting. I will take that into consideration. But there's also sort of a factor of like, kind of want to get going on it. So maybe I accept the imperfect ranking just to move on this. We'll see. Space Trick Cereal says, also painted my armigers. Oh, yeah, you're coming for the custodians? Good luck. Good luck. A single blade champion can take down a knight. Trust. Major Big says, since we're getting Doom, you think we'll get Valeria Richards? It doesn't seem like we're getting Valeria, which is kind of tough. Kind of a shame, you know? And it's funny because, like, you know, and I know Rob wasn't saying this, but, like, some people were like, oh, you just don't want female Silver Surfer because you don't like ladies. It's like, no, that's not true at all. I'm actually crushed that we're not going to get one of the best female characters in all of comics, Valeria Richards. She is fan-fucking-tastic. So, you win some, you lose some, I guess, you know? Rossi, appreciate the rose. Big Z says, I'm happy that Superman and F4 both look good. I hope the general audience gives them more attention than they are with the Thunderbolts. I think they will, man. I mean, look, the Thunderbolts, like, it's funny. I was just talking to my barber about this morning. Nobody's complimented my haircut. Does that mean it's a bad haircut? Should I be concerned? But I was talking to my barber about this morning, and it's like, nobody knows who these characters are, dude. It looks the same. Jesus. Nobody knows who the Thunderbolts are, brother. The Thunderbolt team has no recognition. Even Bucky. He was explaining this to me, and I was like, fuck, I am just so sweaty. I'm missing some of this. Even Bucky is not a big name, guys. And like, when he said that to me, I was like, he is, though. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, he isn't. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, only us sweaties are like, dude, Bucky's dope. Everybody else is like, what, like Steve's old homie? Like the villain from that? Like, what are we doing here? And it's like, it's tough because we are not like them. They not like us, but they are the ones that kind of determine the box office, right? So it's like, fuck. Even Bucky really isn't got the sauce like that. I was like, damn, okay. Good point, though. Kaylin J says, I hope the Council of Reeds appears in the film and we get a big old 2-minute post-credit scene with Doom. Fingers crossed. Yeah, no, I mean, that would be the cherry on top, right? Little Doom action. Woo! X9008 says, 7 months rock hard since becoming a nerd venger. You might want to see a doc about that. I think Reed's secret is Rosemary's Baby plot from 1969. Doom has him by the sack. 12 Vengers. I'm not sure I understand what you're saying there. Can somebody explain that? I don't watch horror movies, so I don't really know about that. That's kind of interesting, though. Rossi says, post-credit scene, the ship breaks into Secret Wars universe? Or are you talking about the Star Wars universe? I mean, talk about a nightmare scenario. Imagine leaving a universe, and then you go into, like, a dead franchise universe. Ugh, that'd be terrible. By the way, good thing this fucking trailer dropped, because you know what I was going to dedicate like 40 minutes to today? How Mikey Madison, in record time, was like, you let them know I'm not doing that Star Wars movie. Which, of course, is an indication of just how cooked Lucasfilm is. But you know what? Let's just leave that there. We're talking about happy things today. John Cross says, could Galactus, Cloud Galactus, and Real Galactus... Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that be wild? What if Cloud Galactus won? Oh, my God. Fifi, appreciate you, Fifi, with a 10 spot. Says, you think the F4 will get the new costume? Oh, I actually did address this. And yes, the new costumes would be great. New costumes would be great. Space Trick Serial TM says, read my first super. I bet you got the pipes for it. What are you talking about, brother? I did read your first super. Let's see here. What the hell are you talking about, man? Oh, the Anguish crash out. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's see here. Shogun Orta says, female Silver Surfer has Rad's background. Now Easter Bunny takes Santa Claus' job. Okay, sure, but it's not the same. Oh, and now your mom is your dad. Yeah, look, I just disagree with Rob. I think I understand his point. What he is saying is, like, it's more the story than the character. My issue is, like, but that's, I mean, that just feels like logically like a fallacy, because that is why I attributed that story to that character, right? And I think some of the mistakes for Marvel recently, and maybe even during like All New, All Different Marvel, was like, okay, well, what if we just switched it? You know what I mean? Like, what if we just made it so it was different? And technically speaking, if they were to do that, like just gender bend Norrin Rad, which is essentially what they did with the Ancient One, right? And it's not like the Ancient One is this like really well fleshed out character or whatever, but they were like, okay, we're just going to switch it. This is a Celtic woman. And it's like, okay, but here's the problem. You did this because you wanted to be sensitive, but all the people from that culture hated it. They were like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So, you know, sometimes even with the best intentions, you can fuck it up, right? So, like, for me, I was glad it was Shalabao. And even if they give her Norrin's story in this universe, I hold out hope that in other universes, and potentially in the 616 or in the rebooted MCU, that we do have Norrin Rad. And like, dude, Shallow's can be cool on her own. I think Shallow's fine. I think Nova's cool. Like, these characters are cool. But, like, Norrin Rad is important. What he does, like, does matter, you know, in my opinion. So, by the way, you don't have to agree with that. Like, it's fine. And I can still chill with you. I can still have a beer with you. It's fine. But I'm not going to change how I feel about it, you know? Patrick Wire says, imagine getting so butthurt because someone's opinion doesn't line up with yours. Yeah, I mean, I think Rob, to his own admission, wanted to argue a little bit, and that's all. I'm all for a good joust. John says, while Josh and Rob are filing for divorce, does Rob know that Josh doesn't like Marvel anyways? Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm hiding that from him. Ghost Hound X says, am I the only one that feels like this new Fantastic Four trailer captures the classic superhero tone that Gunn's Superman is trying to aim for, but much better than it? Love the channel and the show. Appreciate you, man. Here's the way I would say it. I instantly had what I think is the right feeling from the Fantastic Four stuff. And this goes even to the other trailer. I think there's a combination. It's called mise en scène or verisimilitude. Like, the world that it presents, what does that feel like? And between the actors themselves, the choices they make, the costuming, the design of the sets, the design of the world, the music, all of that comes together to create the tone. And to me, I would agree that the Fantastic Four, its tone is instantly recognizable, and I think it's accurate. However, despite all of my criticisms of Superman, the one thing I said about that very first trailer, even though I didn't like it, was that the tone felt right. So I actually think Superman had the right tone instantly. There were other things that I was worried about, things I wasn't sure about. And I'm still not sure. I mean, we'll see. At this point, we've seen, I think we need a little bit more, you know, of Superman to be sure. But the CinemaCon footage to me was like, I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I was able to feel a lot of relief, you know. Ask Rob about Chicken Jockey. Says, watch those wrist rockets. I wish I would have seen that earlier. I would have absolutely asked him. Candace says, let's go. Leon says, 25 months, baby. Hope everybody's doing well still. Been a little bit down since I lost my job, but I'm staying afloat. Love you all. Brother, that sucks. There's no way around it. Try to keep your chin up. You know, there's a time to rest, and then there's a time to get after it. You have to figure out where you're at. If you're resting, but you're anxious, and you're just thinking about all the shit you got to do, you're not doing yourself any favors. Relax. Rest, regroup, and then get after it. And when you get after it, leave the sorry in the sack. You know what I mean? So understand what season you're in. Go a little easier on yourself, but also you do have to get after it. You know what I mean? Maybe not today, but you do have to get after it. Nino says, Julia will be thumbs up surfer, but Lackleith would kill it. I don't know who that is, brother. But yeah, I mean, she seems to be doing pretty well. Seems to be doing pretty well as far as I'm concerned. Silver Surfer says, they kept the same design for the Surfer as FF2. Does that mean anything? Are they paying homage or the story, or will the story be continued? I'm not sure what you mean. It's probably just a style choice. I don't know that it has any indicators of like connection or canon or anything like that. I will say that Chris Evans is in the movie, probably in the post-credit scene, and I am going to make a video on that over the weekend that explains that a little bit more. So I think you might be on to something, but I don't think the design means anything per se. Nuck and Fut says, isn't Reed the Doom in the current Ultimates? Yes, that's true. That's a good point. That is a good point. Kyber says, Josh, when I come here, I always feel special. Nerd Vengers for life. Appreciate you, brother. Always try to, I mean, look, it's fun. It's, you know, it's a blessing to have this job, but I also take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like, I want to show up for you guys. I want to do a good job. You know, I want to represent the brand well, the Den of Nerds brand. You know, it's not always going to be clean. It's not always going to be easy. And, you know, like I wish I would have liked Daredevil more because I would have been able to be a little bit more positive about it. But at the same time, like I'm not going to act like I like something just to make it better for the community. I have to find a way to be authentic while also respecting the different opinions that the audience has. So, look, I'm trying to do my best. You know, that's all we can do in this world is try to do our best and live authentically, you know? Kyber Coastal says 10 out of 10 convo. I mean, I think so too, man. You know, the thing is, and I honestly, I feel completely fine about it. I'll probably have a phone call with Rob later. We'll smooth the rough edges. I'll make sure he knows I love him. But at the end of the day, like, sometimes when the friction hits, diamonds are created. And even though I don't love necessarily talking about this stuff, and you might have caught me kind of trying to shift the convo because I was like, I don't even want to talk about this. It is also the case that sometimes when it's real and when it's tense, you get really good content out of it. You know what I mean? So I thought it was a good combo, man. And it's okay to disagree with your buddies. It's okay to stand firm on how you feel about things. And you don't have to be a dick about it. You know what I mean? And like, dude, Rob can just feel how he feels. He doesn't have a problem with it. It's fine. I have a problem with it. I think that's fine too, you know? Ross says, seeing Coogler's Sinners on IMAX tonight. In a recent interview, he named T'Challa as his all-time superhero. I think he opened to recasting the multiverse. Yeah, I mean, okay, so there's two things there, right? Sinners looks incredible. I'm not a horror guy. I'm not going to watch it, but it looks great. I hope it's successful. I love that Coogler has this interesting deal where after 25 years, that will revert out of the Warner Brothers catalog and be a part of his estate. Love that. I hope that that forges ground for all sorts of creatives to be able to do that. I think that's incredible. I'm still not going to watch. I just don't like horror, man. I'm not going to, you know, I haven't watched any of Jordan Peele's shit. And I love Jordan. He is brilliant. He is hilarious. He is awesome. I just like what I like. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing. The second thing, though, is about this T'Challa thing. And man, I don't know. I get a sense, and it's speculation, but I get a sense that Coogler's not the issue here. Coogler might have been the issue initially, but I'm starting to get a sense that he's not the issue with the lack of T'Challa. And I guess we could just leave it there because it's speculation. We don't know. But that's just the feeling I get. Jedi Dad 81 says, Josh, I completely agree with you and didn't really understand where Rob was coming from. But hey, agree to disagree. That's what I appreciate about you both. Yeah, if I had to steel man his argument, what he was saying was all of the attributes that made you fall in love with Norrin Rad, if those are the things that you really care about, then that being attributed to a female character should just have you transfer all those feelings to the character. And it's because they're like I understand because like, look, Rob and I are friends, right? And we've talked about different things. One of the things that like Rob has said publicly, and I hope I'm not like getting him in trouble or whatever, but he's talked about publicly how he doesn't really like think about race, or he doesn't really think about his own race, at least not like that's not like how he frames things, right? And so I think like if you think of that and then you think of what he said, what he's saying is like that's not what's important. The characteristic is not the thing. It's like the story around. It's the context that matters. And I can understand that. Like I can see that argument. I just disagree. And for me, it's like, but the context can't be separated from the character. And by doing that, you're breaking something that I like in its current form. Right? So it's all good, baby. It's all good. We can have different opinions about this. And also, and I've tried to make this point several times, but like, I'll just say it again. It's okay to hear about something and be like, I don't like that because of this, this, and this. And then you actually see it and you're like, actually, it works. That should be okay too. Right? So, yeah, it's all good. Not creative name says with a 10 spot. Random question. Why isn't Superman compelled to save the experimental Earth he created in All-Star Superman, since he essentially created its pain and suffering for the sake of an experiment? You're saying, random question, but why isn't Superman compelled to save the experimental Earth he created in All-Star Superman, because he essentially created the pain and suffering for the sake of an experiment? I think there's like some high-level meta shit going on there, where like Grant is basically telling you that the pain is worth it, that the suffering is worth it, because that experimental universe is our universe. I don't know if that's obvious when you read the book, but it's our world. What Superman does is he creates a universe, and then there's no actual Superman. And instead, Superman appears as a myth. And yet, even just as a myth, he's able to influence and bring joy and save lives. So look, first of all, it's just a story, and it's okay. You can criticize the motivation or whatever, but as far as I understand it, that's the way I interpret it. So Patrick Ware says with a 10 spot, what if somehow the FF have traveled into several universes to settle where they are beloved, and Reed is the only one that remembers the incursions and ran from, and that's the dark secret? That's like kind of what I'm thinking. Like that, some version of that, I think could be what they're doing, you know? So, yeah, I think you're onto something there. C-Dub says, what a dramatic shift from yesterday to today. The nerds needed a W, and I think we got one. Now let's hope for some Silver Surfer jiggle physics. Hey, you're not wrong. No, C-Dub, that is absolutely correct. Yesterday, it was so over. Today, we're so back. But we've been on this ride for a while. I think by now we should be used to the highs and the lows. And we're so back until it's so over. So let's just see what happens with Thunderbolts. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right to bring that up. T to the Rich says, if Doom doesn't show up for at least a post-credit scene, I think that's a fail. But I love the trailer. We at least saw Thanos before Infinity War. Yeah, fair. Facts, man. I think that's completely appropriate. Yeah. Hell yeah. John Cross says, the trailer was mostly what they showed us at CinemaCon. What do you think would surprise you the most in the movie? Counselor Reed and them. What would shock me is if Reed was lying to his entire family. That would be shocking and cool. Let's see here. Colas says, T-Bolts and FF might bring me back to the MCU. They've been struggling, but these trailers look good. Solo Leveling was dope. Rob is dope. Fortify your minds. Nerd Avengers for life. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, agree with everything you said. I think T-Bolts and FF look incredible. It unfortunately feels like T-Bolts might not pop, but I would say this. If it's so good, because, like, brother, they're letting people see it early, like, they're dropping review embargo early, like, they think they got something. And it really just depends on how strong that word of mouth is. I feel like the word of mouth would have to go beyond, like, this one's good. And it would kind of have to go, like, you cannot miss this one. And I think that's what they want. And if the word of mouth is that strong and it's like, you cannot miss this one, then I think you could see a huge uptick. And it would be crazy if Thunderbolts made like 6, 7, 8, 100 million, because it's kind of projected to, right now, but like 4 or 5. So, man, if it can really just outpace Brave New World and some of that stuff, that's going to be a great sign. But either way, I think the hardcore among us are going to see it either way. Like, we're going to see it, and it's either way, even if it's not commercially successful, if it can be successful for the fans, if you and I can be really excited, hell yeah, that would be great. Let's see here. Kaylin J says, I'm sure he knows it's all love. Me and some of my bros have tense arguments all the time. Yeah, look, Rob has thick skin, man. I mean, I'm not worried about him, but... Oh, shit. Jared said, could that exploding Earth be from an incursion and Reed having to destroy that Earth to save his? Whoa. Whoa, dude, that's cool. Like, that's, bro. You guys are kind of cooking with some theories, man. Hey, thanks, Andre. You guys are cooking with some theories. There's some good stuff here. I like that, Jareth. Jareth, when you racing, man? When's the Kentucky Derby? I'm going to put some money on you. Steve McT says, my normies at work even think F4 looks sweet. Beautiful. Love to hear it. Appreciate you, brother. John says, did you ask Rob about Aliens vs. Avengers? No, I forgot again. Vandolph says, I think the purpose of the Silver Surfer run with Ron Lim in the 90s was trying to fill him out more as a guy you can chill with, romance, alpha energy, and Ron's art was straight cosmic fire. I'd have to look into that run. I don't know that I've ever read it, but I mean, that's some high praise, man. May 3rd, beautiful. Beautiful. iFlow, thanks for the 10 spot. You do not have a message here, though. So, I don't know. Was that an error? Appreciate the 10 either way. Grant says, Devil's Reign, worth reading, affects Daredevil Born Again Season 2. I don't know. I mean, Devil's Reign is cool. I don't love Elektra Daredevil. Oh, shit. Here I go again. I don't love it. They made the... Elektra should just be Elektra. But there's some cool stuff in it. I don't even know if I finished it, though. So I can't exactly say I would give it super high praise. I don't know if it's going to affect Daredevil Born Again Season 2. We'll see. I'm kind of hoping that they go more in the direction of Shadowlands. We'll see. We'll see what they cook. Patrick says, do you think the council will talk about the Reed killed in Multiverse of Madness? Brother, that is... I really hope that's true, man. I really hope that's true. That seems... That would be cool. That would be cool. All right, everybody. Well, I think we're going to call it there. Appreciate everybody today. Appreciate Rob calling in. I think this trailer looks great, and I think we're in for a good time with this movie. And also, I'm going to do a thorough breakdown. We'll see if there's any other stuff uncovered. If anybody finds any other secrets, let me know. And, yeah, I'll probably put that video out early tomorrow. And then I have a video that speaks about the post-credit scenes. I'll keep that in a spoiler video, so those of you that don't like spoilers, you don't have to watch it. Drop that over the weekend. So, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We are so back. I can't believe it. It was over yesterday, and now we're so back. It feels good. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Oh man, another happy landing. Another happy landing, man. Hey, look, that's why a lot of people can't do a live show. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to roll with the punches and flow with what's happening and bring it back. You know? And I thought the conversation was great. You know? I didn't necessarily want to get hung up on that, but it's okay. It's all good. I thought it was a good one. And at the end of the day, I think that we did what we do and we nerded out. And I love nerding out with Rob. I mean, I enjoy arguing with him. Like, it's all good. It's good faith. It's cool. And this trailer's dope, man. This trailer's dope. So, like, I'm grateful that Rob wants to even call into the show when cool Marvel things happen. And I think we always entertain. So it's good shit. I appreciate all of you. And look, end of the day, we're all nerds here. And I think we want to have a good time. And we might have a slight difference in how we think about how we're going to have that good time. It's all good. Truly. So thank you. And I appreciate you guys. I'm going to go work on my breakdown video now. If you caught any crazy things or if there's anything else going on, please hit me up. Hell yeah. We're going to work on that. Appreciate y'all, okay? Remember, open up that third eye, man. And you watch out that stinky butthole. All right.